they're alleging, the feds are going to say, they're going to introduce testimony from a witness alleging that Lil Durk wanted OTF Didi and Booney Mo to kill O Block members because they weren't retaliating for Von. This is some of the most damning stuff that we've seen. And look, I said it. All right, I said it. I said, look, when the feds start popping out with all the stuff that they've got on Durk, he's rapping about, I'm going to delete my iCloud, all of that stuff. This is what we're going to find out. We're finally actually getting some information. We're finally getting some crazy paperwork. We're finding out some of these secret conversations that were going on behind the scenes. If this stuff is true, Durk's going to be cooked, and there's going to be a lot more of it, man. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, okay? So I've got the full paperwork, all right? I'll break down the full paperwork, but this is just what we're seeing on Chicago Hits right now, okay? This is, they're basically saying OTF Didi's lawyer is throwing Durk under the bus and trying to get the case severed for Didi. Now, there's already been rumors, there's been speculation about whether Didi might be cooperating, trying to get a deal, trying to take a plea, whether that's a cooperation plea or just trying to plea out to get a more favorable outcome than taking it to trial and losing, which it looks like Durk might well be lining himself up to do, okay? But this says, okay, DeAndre Wilson, which is OTF Didi, okay, they're moving for an order severing his trial from this trial, the trial of co-defendant Durk Banks and anyone else, okay? They're saying the motion is made pursuant to a federal rule on Criminal Procedure 14 on the ground a joint trial will cause compelling and incurable prejudice to Mr. Wilson as a result of prejudicial spillover from extensive other acts, evidence noticed by the government that will overwhelmingly concern Mr. Banks and other alleged actors and would not be admissible against Mr. Wilson if he tried alone. So he's saying, yo, Durk was over there with the members wiling out, doing crazy stuff. I need to be separated from that. That doesn't necessarily mean he wants to be separated for snitching, but he's basically saying, I want to be separated from that because when this jury sees the evidence of what Lil Durk and these guys were doing behind the scenes for Slide for Von, I'm cooked. So we need to separate this, man. Look how crazy this is, okay? I've got the full paperwork, but I'll just break down what's here because this is obviously some of the most important stuff that they've picked out. This is wild. Mr. Banks, to an alleged bounty for the killing of Mac, Mr. Wilson is not identified in connection with the incident. Oh, my God. Mana Duke's in here. No. No. I can't even believe I'm gonna tell you some stuff after I'm done reading this. It's gonna blow your mind, okay? April 2023, text chain, Mana Duke feud. The notice claims a group text between defendant Banks and OTF members, including defendant DeAndre Wilson, DD, Antonio Jones, aka Booney Mo. Ooh, we're gonna have a Booney Mo update for you guys too. And PW1 reflected Mr. Banks' frustration that O Block were not properly retaliating for King Von's death. In the thread, Mr. Banks, not Mr. Wilson, declared, I'm finna pipe it up. Booney Mo responded with, blood, it's green. Emoji of a car and a green light. All right, coded messages. We talked about coded messages in the last video. That green light, got location, go. Green light, go. Like them lyrics. Yeah, you can throw them lyrics out at trial. Yeah, we can throw them lyrics out. But you want a text? Posting the green light emoji. Cooked, man. Cooked. Booney Mo responded with blood, it's green. Emoji of a car and a green light. Getting stuff together now. No phones. No phones. Apart from this phone I'm texting you on now. Apart from that phone, no phones. The government expects PW1 to testify, so they got an informant about purported follow-up plans involving others. Significantly, the government attributes no statement to Mr. Wilson in this exchange. So Didi's trying to say, yo, I'm in a group chat. I ain't even say it. I hear no evil, see no evil. I'm out here, man. No green light emojis on me. They're saying his presence is merely noted as being on the text chain. There is no claim that Mr. Wilson agreed with, endorsed, or acted on Mr. Banks' statement. April 2023, Instagram chain. Another text chain between defendant Banks, defendant Wilson, Booney Mo, and Devonshea Collier. It's THF Bezu, gang. That's THF Bezu. I just did the video about it. Ah, man. Nah, this is crazy. Allegedly shows Mr. Banks forwarding an Instagram message that he sent to rival Richard Ramsey, stating, I got them hunting you up. Ads better have 3 ski masks on. Mr. Wilson is not alleged to be the author of the threatening statement. His name appears only as a participant listed on the chain. The notice does not claim that Mr. Wilson commented on, endorsed, or even responded to Durk's message. He's saying, They're whiling out so much in that group chat. I need to have my case severed because I didn't reply. I ain't part of that group chat. I left that. I didn't even know. I didn't even see those messages. That's the way he's going, man. It says April 2023, Booney Mo audio, a voice note allegedly conveying Mr. Banks' instructions regarding money and sliders. They're calling it getaway cars. Mr. Wilson is not identified and there's no evidence he received the audio message. Lyrics. The notice cites multiple lyrics by Durk, including aha, smirk, slide, 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 don't respond to with Von. They drop in locations, I'm getting it done. Rumors, I don't want no dudes who you catch, I want the one I paid for. And Scoom his ass, bounty hunter, he ready to crack that Lil B down to get her off. That last one, I'm not sure if I'm buying that one. These statements are attributed solely to Mr. Banks. And then, is this the same stuff, or is this is a more detailed explanation because it's identifying Devonshea Collier as Zoo. So this says evidence that defendant Banks and others involved in the murder of Savia Robinson, who's Lil Pab, Quando Rondo's cousin, sought to exact revenge on another rival of defendant Banks at defendant Banks' direction. Specifically, in April 2023, text messages by and between defendant Banks and OTF members, including defendant DeAndre Wilson, Antonio Jones, aka Booney Mo, and PW1, likely an informant at this stage, show defendant Banks feud with O-Block member Munna Duke. Over defendants Banks' belief that O-Block members were not properly retaliating for Bennett's death. In the thread, defendant Banks states, I'm finna pipe it up, to which Booney Mo responds, blood, it's green, emoji of a car, green light, getting shit together now with no phones. Okay, so they've got the media. They're saying, see the media, iPhone 13 tags, they got the media in there. Okay, so look, when everybody said the feds ain't got nothing, they ain't got nothing on Durk, man. They ain't got nothing on Durk. He was just there. What have they got on Durk? Oh, they've just got one message where he says, hey, don't book nothing on my card. It's cat, man. They got that green light emoji, man. So they're saying, get that together as set forth and cooperate a discovery produced to you. So somebody's cooperating. It sounds like one of the cooperators in that group chat. So Durk probably knows who that person is, but we don't know at this stage. Okay. As set forth in cooperated discovery produced to you, the government expects PW1 will testify that in response to defendant Banks' direction to exact revenge on O-Block members, PW1 and Booney Mo purchased a vehicle with funds from defendant Banks Lil Durk to travel to O-Block and kill whatever O-Block members they could find. Wow. PW1 is also expected to testify that PW1 would have been expected to be paid by defendant Banks Lil Durk for anyone the conspirators killed. Man, but the conspirators did not go through with the plan because of the police presence in O-Block. It says 3, evidence that defendant Banks and other OTF members involved in the murder of Savia Robinson, which is Lil Pab, discussed violence against another rival of defendant Banks at defendant Banks' direction. Specifically, an April 2023 text message between defendant Banks, defendant Wilson, Booney Mo, and Devonshea Collier, aka Zoo, wherein defendant Banks sent a screenshot of an Instagram message that he sent to Richard Ramsey, aka Richo Lamron 300, that says, I got them hunting you up. Ads better have 3 ski masks on. This is absolutely wild. I've heard a lot of talk behind the scenes that there was actually, a real civil war brewing in O-Block. O-Block is a crew that's legendary for their affiliation with King Von. But I've heard it from people, and I've seen it on Reddit. I've seen all talk that O-Block, as time went on, there was a civil war brewing in O-Block. You had the younger generation, the older generation. Then you got Lil Durk's crew. Then you got Front Street, who was, Chief Keef crew back in the day. They ended up going to war with O-Block. Chief Keef's house got robbed. There's all these rumors of who did what. The murder of Chief Keef's manager, Blood Money. There's a lot of crazy backstory as far as why all these guys don't actually get along with O-Block. Come to find out that allegedly Lil Durk was actually mad that O-Block wasn't sliding and that they were having a feud with Munna Duke. And if you remember, Munna Duke ended up losing his life very recently. If you remember this, all right, I did a whole video on the Munna Duke situation, and it's still a mystery as to exactly who was involved. But it says alleged O-Block gang leader among 2 killed in Edgewater shooting. Rashawn Munna Duke Vance was slain early Saturday, was an associate of superstar rapper Davon King Von Bennett. Also killed was Darrell Givens. 36-year-old man was hospitalized in fair condition. So I've got the full paperwork here, and it's going to give us a little bit more backstory. It basically has him explaining how the evidence of the alleged acts are supported by competent evidence. They're admissible against anyone in the case. Mr. Wilson will join defendant Durk Banks in a motion to exclude the government's evidence and fully expects the court to exclude the highly inflammatory evidence. But if the court were to allow the government to introduce this evidence, severance is the only way to protect Dede his right to a fair trial. They're saying the government notice sets forth extensive other acts, evidence almost entirely directed at co-defendant Banks, allegations of violent retaliation, murder plots, paid bounties, and directives to hunt rivals spanning multiple jurisdictions and years. Don't sleep on this. They're going back years. They're going through Lil Durk's iCloud. They're going through his private messages, group chats, voice notes, all that talk of Lil Durk. Yeah, delete my iCloud because the feds are on me. That don't do nothing, bro. That don't do nothing. There's subpoena in that. They got that for years, all right? Multiple jurisdictions, that's beyond Chicago, and years. They're going to be going all the way back. They're probably looking at the messages that Durk was sending to King Von, all right? By contrast, Mr. Wilson appears, if at all, only peripherally included in 2 text threads reflecting general chatter around Mr. Banks' alleged feud and threats. He's saying, bro, you need to get me out of here. You need to let me cut out of this. I don't want to have no parts in them group chats. I need a separate trial. I was not arranging for the slide-in. So he wants severance, but who knows if they'll actually grant that to him. Oh my God, I've just seen something crazy. Oh man, I can't even believe that. No way. They're tying up the other attempts on Quando's life into this, man. So look, if you've seen my documentary and all of my coverage of the whole Quando Rondo back and forth, you'll know that there have been numerous attempts on Quando's life. And they're putting that into the case. Look at this. This is actually, I can't even believe what I'm seeing. I'm looking at this for the first time while I'm recording this. The notice, all right, this is going to break down all the evidence related to Banks' rivalry with Taekwon Bowman, who is Quando Rondo. The notice first describes evidence of Mr. Banks' alleged efforts to exact revenge against Quando Rondo following the 2020 killing of Davon Bennett, aka King Von. According to the government, they intend to introduce surveillance footage and witness testimony related to the murder. It's not a murder, it was a lawful killing, self-defense, of Bennett in Atlanta, Georgia on November the 6th, 2020. Surveillance footage and witness testimony related to the attempted murder of Quando Rondo in Blackshear, Georgia on May the 2nd, 2021. You all said it was cap, man. You all said it was cap when I used to bring this up, man. I done brought this situation up so many times and everybody said that's cap. That ain't got nothing to do with what's going on. Told you guys, man. I'm going to pull it up. This was the original article, man, and I've covered this extensively. Look, if you've been following my channel for a long time, you'll know that I'm on this, man. I'm paying attention to what's going on, man. This was all the way back in 2021. Quando Rondo, he had a show in Georgia, okay, and they literally stalked him from the show to a gas station, another gas station, okay, and they tried to shoot him. I heard that they were saying that 100 gunshots were heard at this point, okay? He and his entourage were caught in a hail of gunfire at a convenience store in Georgia, and one of his entourage was wounded, okay? There's always been rumors about who that was. Some people said it might have been Lil Tim. Unknown, okay? Shots rang out at 3:20 a.m. in Blackshear. Quando and his crew were in a parking lot off the highway. Cops believe the shooter opened fire from across the road, okay? This was after he played that show that was the empty show. Everyone said, yeah, he got no motion, okay? After the King Von thing, they're scared to book him. But he did play that show. He rocked out on stage, and they came and tried to get him afterwards, man. This is that famous situation, all right? The show was empty. They were clowning Quando for having an empty venue. You know what I mean? He was on stage rocking out, barely anybody there. Were they not there because he had no motion, or were they not there because they're scared of being there? Because they really tried to kill him just 10 minutes from the nightclub where it all went down. And there was footage from afterwards too.
According to one report, over 100 bullets were fired at Quando's entourage during this incident. However, members of the public would arrive to the crime scene, beginning to film and posting the footage on social media, with the woman filming telling viewers that she was on the scene of the Quando shooting and saying that people had heard the gunshots from all the way down the street. And she would even walk right up to bullet markers where the shell casings had apparently been fired from all the way up the street.
Oh my God, it is Quando, y'all. It's got to be. They talking about it was the rapper that performed at the Vibe at the club. They talking about it was Quando. They heard it was, somebody had a bounty on him. I'm like, damn, how the f you know? Look at all them bullets. Yeah, they got them picking up bullets.
So look, all right, look, I'm going to gas myself up a little bit. This is how you know that I be digging deeper into these situations than everybody else, okay? And ain't nobody else be analyzing the footage from outside. The woman is outside saying, I heard there was a bounty on Quando. All of this was going on, okay? And it was just, I don't want to say the wrong thing when it comes to the legal side of things, but like, To an outsider, this appeared to be the Slide for Von campaign in action. They're saying surveillance footage and witness testimony. Don't sleep on this, all right? No doubt that there was surveillance footage at that gas station that we still haven't seen. And they're saying witness testimony related to the attempted murder of Bowman in Blackshear. Now, that's there for a reason. If that was just some random thing that didn't have nothing to do with Lil Durk, the feds wouldn't be using that, okay? That is actually huge, okay? They're saying they're also focusing on Mr. Banks' lyrics and statements, such as his line in Who Wants Smoke. They be on my page like Slide for Von. I know they trolling me. And his interview remark, for some reason, I just don't see them comments no more. We hear, though, we different in Iraq. And social media comments directed at Mr. Banks urging him to slide for Von. None of these allegations identify Mr. Wilson. But hey, we didn't even know those were part of the trial until Didi filed this. Okay, so that's crazy. And I can already see there's some stuff coming up about Stephon Mack. Oh, man, I'm not even ready. I'm floored by this, honestly. I'm floored by this. But the fact that they're bringing that Quando Rondo shooting, that they're bringing this into the trial, this is not good for Lil Durk. This is bad, okay? All these little things that everyone thought they were getting away with, state to state, city to city, it's over with. It's all in there, man. And then we're going to get to the Stephon Mack situation. I'll update you on that one too, because I did a whole video about that. And you all want to call it cap and say that this ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But here it is, man. So part B, they're saying evidence related to Banks directing or ordering violence. The second category consists of a wide-ranging set of allegations claiming that Mr. Banks placed bounties or otherwise directed violence. Again, Mr. Banks is central to the government's allegations. Mr. Wilson's name, Didi, surfaces in only 2 text chains, and in each instance, he is just a participant, not the originator of any statement. Okay? This paperwork, this evidence they've got, finished. Cooked, all right? They're wrapping him up into that. They're saying Mr. Banks has had an alleged bounty for the killing of Mac, okay? And then we get to this Monoduke thing. We already explored this, okay? This is the thing with the green light emoji. And then they talk about the conversation with Devon Share Collier, where basically, you know, they said Big Zoo was in there, Booney Mo, you know, we know that we did it. All of that stuff, Brad. That's not looking too good now, okay? They were planning to kill a rival called Richard Ramsey. So I'm just skimming through the rest of the paperwork, and it seems like they're kind of bringing up a lot of legal precedent rather than any new evidence or any details about what's going on. And then essentially Didi is just trying to, you know, dispute the relevance of these things being associated with him. It says, if any portion of the voluminous, that means a lot, material was admitted against Mr. Banks, it would be patently unfair that Mr. Wilson Didi would be forced to defend himself before a jury saturated with evidence that by the government's own account has nothing to do with him. Okay, they're saying that it's just a whole bunch of really bad-looking stuff against Durk, and he's basically saying, look, if you show the jury all of that stuff and I'm in the group chats, I'm cooked. I need a separate trial. And people are saying he threw Lil Durk under the bus. Like, the way that he's talking here, he's kind of putting it on Lil Durk. He ain't denying it. He ain't saying, yo, none of this ever happened. He's saying, yo, all of that shit, all that stuff you got on Durk, that stuff, I don't want to be part of that. You know, that stuff, that bad stuff that looks bad. They're saying that the government sets forth allegations of extreme violence and retaliatory plots solely attributable to Lil Durk. Some people would say that's pointing the finger at Lil Durk, right? But they're basically, you can't really go that far because it's basically just saying, look, the government are saying that he did this. I ain't saying that he did it, but that stuff's crazy. I don't want to be associated with that. And so even then, he's not the speaker of any incriminating statements, nor is there evidence he endorsed or acted on what Lil Durk said. His role is passive and peripheral, merely appearing on a text chain dominated by messages allegedly authored by Mr. Banks. He says here, look, in a joint trial, the jury will be exposed to an avalanche of inflammatory material, accounts of shootings, claims of bounties, and Durk's confessions in lyrics. Against that evidentiary backdrop, Mr. Wilson's mere inclusion in group checks would easily blurred into guilt by association. That is precisely the danger the courts warn against. He's saying that, look, I just can't be part of this, all right? I need to be taken out of this. And then here it says kind of for closing arguments, he's saying forcing Mr. Williams to confront this evidence would allow the government to secure a conviction without satisfying a high burden of proof. According to the operative indictment, Mr. Wilson was not a leader of OTF. He didn't initiate any bounties or make payments. He didn't procure weapons or vehicles or any items associated. He didn't drive any vehicles. He didn't use or possess any firearms. Okay, although the government accuses Didi of other acts, such as purportedly recruiting individuals, this information comes from a cooperating witness, and it's inherently suspect information and should be evaluated with greater caution than that of other witnesses.
It even says here, if you expose a jury to repeated references of revenge killing, social media pressure campaigns, and violent lyrics by Durk, then instructing the jury to disregard all of it when looking at Dee Dee is a fiction. It's unreasonable to ask jurors to engage in mental gymnastics. To tell the jury to ignore all this proof is to ask the impossible. It's prejudicial. It can't be instructed away. And he's basically saying the only remedy for that is severance. The only way to protect and save Dee Dee and his rights would be to separate, okay? Limiting instructions, redacting things, excluding things, it still keeps the central problems that the government are putting across an overarching narrative of violence, retaliation, but Mr. Wilson is not involved in that. It's going to color the jury's perception of him, and he wants to have his situation split apart, okay? And there's exhibits, okay? There's more breakdown. This is kind of just recapping the feud with Quando Rondo and why it all stems from King Von and what was going on with that. And so here it's just a list of all evidence. So we did look at some of this already in the previous Instagram post. But essentially, this is one of the first time we're seeing from the government evidence related to it. Evidence related to Durk, defendant Banks' bounty for the killing of Stephon Mack. Surveillance footage of the shooting. Text messages recovered from Montgomery Wilson's cell phone. Discussing payment from OTF and defendant Banks for murder. We kind of already knew that was coming from the previous paperwork. But they're also saying there's a Facebook story from Montgomery Wilson showing him holding the money, which I showed you was in the previous video. It's all getting used, and DNA evidence linking him to the shooter's vehicle. Okay, we already talked about these text messages between Booney Mo, the green light emoji, the text messages with Zoo. This is other stuff. We already looked at this thing with the voice note, but then they go on to add even more things that they could potentially use against Durk. Durk's admissions in lyrics about paying for bounties and directing violence. They got Aha, which you know, we already knew in there, dropping locations, getting it done. The rumors by Gucci Mane, Scoom his ass with Booney Mo, popping out in traffic in Cali, ride through Beverly Hills with choppers, dying to see the oppers. Bounty hunter, you ready to crack that little bitch down to get her off? That kind of isn't relevant, that one. But they're saying that these acts are admissible and show defendant Banks' motive, intent, preparation, planning, knowledge, identity, absence of mistake, and lack of an accident. So the feds are saying, yo, we got all of this. And they might even have even more on the way. They probably have even more, man. They got the whole phone, they got everything, okay? So Reddit, Chiracology is reacting to the news, man. They're saying that OTF's Dee Dee's lawyer is throwing Durk under the bus to try and get the case severed. All right, and people are quoting these classic King Von lyrics. I just talked to Dee Dee. He gonna be home, gang. Don't know if that's gonna be the case, man. They're saying, what the F? Durk was talking crazy as hell in their messages. People saying he's not throwing Durk under the bus. He's just saying that the evidence the feds are presenting don't have his client doing anything illegal. Then they're saying, Cap, he said Durk said that he's seen messages to have all of this info. And there's probably more. Saying a severed case is the last thing the government wants, which is why they fight so hard against it every time. And they're going to keep applying the screws to Dee Dee, and they're probably going to hope that Dee Dee cooperates if they can. Because they're saying, bro, you wasn't really like that. You wasn't really banging OTF like these other guys. You got involved later on. You're part of this. But yeah, this is actually crazy. They're saying if Durk gets snitched on, I'll be surprised. And he actually gets life, I'll be surprised. I still hope he's getting out. People saying, bruh. Damn, Zoo got named. No wonder he went ghost, man. These dudes was texting on iMessages, organizing and getting everything in order for hits. Oh my God, how stupid can you be? There's countless encrypted messaging platforms, plenty of money to set up the whole cruise shit to be anonymous. Uses voice memos, iMessage, and Instagram. Bro deserves life for being this silly. Okay, 12-year-old script kiddies scamming Roblox currency on Discord have better operational security than these full-grown adults doing hits, man. They're saying Dee Dee getting backdoored the second he comes home. They're saying they got his text messages. It's going to be crazy. Okay, it's not really snitching though. His lawyer's just saying the evidence they got has nothing to do with their client. He just so happened to be in a group chat. He's not making statements against Lil Durk. They're saying, who is Richard Ramsey to be getting personal Durk messages saying we coming to kill you? Saying, damn, Richo be capping, but you know that's Brody Lamron Richo, man. So they're saying he was going after, he was ready to take out the Lamron members too, man. They're saying Durk is overcooked, man. They're saying Rondo number 9 going to be home before Durk, man. Saying not the rumors verse. People saying, I thought there was no way they could overlook that. Fulton County overlooked a lot of incriminating thug lyrics. They're saying Durk is cooked, man. Durk is cooked. This is really bad. This is really bad. I'm honestly shocked. I'm actually in shock. The thing that surprises me most is that they're referencing that attempt on Quando Rondo's life in May 2021. They're including that. It's a wrap, man. You guys really went after him city to city, state to state, until you eventually got his cousin. This whole thing's a mess, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if we hear some more information about the beef between Lil Durk,
the situation with Lil Durk, how that played out, whether there's anything going on there, whether there are any connections. Bruh, this is crazy, all right? So I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm sure there's going to be some new news, new paperwork coming out. Like, that is blown my mind. I'm not going to lie to you. This has blown my mind. So I'll keep you guys updated if anything else happens. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below, man. Is Durk cooked? Is Diddy cooked? I don't know if they're going to even let him get this severance, man. It's crazy. But look, I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out.